Valkain and therefore. Reishas HaKol, the first thing is, Sheyismach Od, brothers should be happy. The Yagum should be glad, B'chol Eis V'chol Shah, every hour and every moment. The Yichya Mamesh, but Manasseh by the Shem, you should get Mamesh life, it is a moon in the Eibishter, which is what I told you in the previous shtikele, that the moon has to be an even of Lebedekite, right? Because that's the primus of all the mitzvahs. Hamachayo Meitav Imam, which gives him life and goodness, B'chol every moment. A person who is depressed and complained is showing about himself that he has evil, v'yisurim, and suffering. Says the Alter Rebbe, is missing something. It's like an applicator. You tell me, this is sensitive. Look at the words. Period. Here's the word. Here's the word. That's haste. A Yid has to have so much betach and moon in the Meibishten, because otherwise it's a touch of the Ikri Adas. And you know and I know that this chos of the Alter Rebbe gave him the chelik, but he wouldn't give us the chelik. Not because we have so much amunah, but because what's the point? Valkain, and this explains Mekubalim were very, very against depression, like Alter Rebbe mentioned in Perek Chavov and in Kalam Mekemis, because depression means it's a lack of sense that the world is Lashem Ha'aretz U'Mayim. Says the Alter Rebbe, a person who has a moon of the Eibush, will never worry. Mishum Yisur Be'em for any suffering in this world, and to the extent that B'chol in Yon everything has to do with this world, Hein V'lav Shavin Etzla, yes and no, are exactly the same by him. Bashva Midas with absolute sameness. This is called in Sifrei Musar Midas Hashtavas. Shivisi Avayel and Negdi Summit. The Baal Shem Tov teaches at Shabbat, right? Whether something good happens or bad happens. The Gemara says that Leika Elam Hazeh Elam Haba. In Elam Hazeh, for something good you say Ateva Meitiv, for something bad you say Dayanemis. In Elam Haba, for something bad you're also going to say Ateva Meitiv. And of course the Hasbara is, most people are not on a madrega of saying Ateva Meitiv for bad as well as for good. But the Mishnah says, in other words, the Mishnah says that really, so the Alter Rebbe says, good and bad are exactly the same. Absolute sameness. And this is the madreg of David HaMelech. In case you think that tomorrow or next week you reach this madreg, and then you can be David HaMelech Yisrael Chavakai. But the Alter Rebbe, Misha Ein Shavin Lei, for a person for whom good and bad are not exactly the same. He's demonstrating about himself that he's Me'ed of Rav, right? What does Me'ed of Rav mean? Me'ed of Rav, from those Neshamis that has not only good in them, that has also not good. And as a result, they do things for themselves. And he loves himself. And this self-love is Lotzeis Mitachas Yad Hashem. It takes him away from the fact that everything comes from the Eibishter. It takes him out from the Eibishter's hand. It says in the Tanya, Elul, but it should be Elul. The life of a goy, because of his self-love. Because if we were be'emes, servants of the Eibishter, we wouldn't have this kind of self-love. And if we didn't have this kind of self-love, we would not be sad and depressed when Achman al-Tzan, something terrible happens to us. Yeah, the lashon in the Asher Nikolaev is Hagoyim. Okay? B'chaye Hagoyim. And this is what Alter Rebbe said already in the Gersh HaKedesh test. Alter Rebbe said that the only reason we have to support our family first because it's a mitzvah, but not because we love them. Okay, the Kizet Tevlei, Balkain, and therefore, who chafetz b'chayi b'sarim u'bonim azei, he wants physical life and health, children and health and panasa. Kizet Tevlei is good for him. The Alter Rebbe v'neich leisha nivra, such a person who would be better if he wasn't created. Now I'm telling you, this is sensitive. The purpose of which person was created in this world. What's the answer? Why was man created? Yeah, look at the next line. Who was feeling on Seisib and the Tanya says. If it ever changes his mind. It's for tests. But of course the point is, tests of faith. That we should have a strengthening and a revealing of our amunah. Well, Adah says Asher b'levaveh, that the person should know, the Eibusher should know what's in his heart. Im yifne levaveh, if he's going to turn his heart, achere elikim acherim. After Elikim, Elikus, and even of Achirai. In other words, if he's going to have a sense that there's a separation within Hashem's world, and therefore, the reason I could complain and be depressed is because this part of my life, the Eibush is not involved with, which is the Hepech Dinyan of Achtus, which is Elikim Achirim, Sheheim, which is Taivas Haguf, the desires of the body, just for the body's sake, Hamishtal Shalom Yisrael Achara, which are a chain reaction from Klipa, Ubehem Uchavet, and this is what he desires. Or instead, his desire and want is to live a true life. That comes from the living God, which comes from the Eibishter. even though things happen which are not so good, Af she'eina yochel. Now, Af she'eina yochel, the Tzemach Tzedek writes tzorech here, or whatever. What does it mean, Af she'eina yochel? So in the bracket he says, if his want and his desire is to do what the Eibishter wants, Af she'eina yochel liches chayim amitim b'cholo, even though he can't do it in the 100% of emes. In other words, he's trying very, very hard to live chayim amitim. Chayim amitim is everything comes from the Eibishter. And it's all for the sake of Avodas Hashem. And ein yirah yir m'mayla, but sometimes it's and when a person taka lives that way, v'yamin, he should believe shebe'emes hu chay bohem, that in truth he is alive, and he's living, he's not chas v'shalom suffering. V'chol tzrachav, v'chol inyanav, all of his needs, and all of his ideas, mishtalshlam be'emes, they are a chain reaction in truth, be'prati preteseim, in their very details. Shalei misit rachar, not from Klippa, but rather from the Eibishter. Ki adeshem mitzadei gever. From the Eibishter comes the steps of man. No, he fixes them and he prepares them. Ve'emila v'chulu, the person doesn't even say a word down here, unless it was nigzam and hashamayim. Ve'imkeina, therefore, hakel tei v'tachos, everything is absolutely good. Aksheni musig, it's not comprehensible to us. The Rebbe is giving a lesson in B'tachan Amiti. The Rebbe once said, I think in the name of the previous Rabbeim, that if a man is drowning in the ocean, and he looks up, and he sees a straw floating on the water, and he reaches to grab that straw. Now, how is the straw going to hold him up? It's impossible. But he grabs for it anyway. It's not pure B'tachan. That's not yet chut. It brings out what the Eibishter wants for nuns in B'tachan and Mun. And I have to be honest, only the Alter Rebbe could say this. A person listening to Alter Rebbe, you could say it's Pashtach already. The Alter Rebbe was holding by this Madrega of Shavitzi Hashem and Negdi Zomet, so you could tell Ta'achoseh.
You said about the straw, like what? It's saying that is.
There's a shtickle teva. It's not pure B'tachan. He's relying, hoping that something is going to help him save himself, besides for the Eibishter himself. It's not that you're wrong, but it's pure B'tachan is when there's no straw, and you still believe. Says the Rebbe, and a person has this amunah, and now comes the point, and if and when a person has this amunah, this is the idea of tzrach good for zayin good, right? This is the Tzemach Tzedek said it, but this is the Alter Rebbe's incarnation. The amunah itself changes the situation, it becomes revealed good. That in a person's amunah shemayim, they believe sharah nidme v'golui, the evil which seems to be revealed, kocha Yossi, it's all life is meteva, everything comes from the Eibishter, which is good. Shikach Masa Yizbach, the beginning of the Eibishter's Chachma, which the Alter Rebbe called before Ayin. She'enim Wasegel, which is beyond comprehension, via Eidin, Shalamal Meil Haba, which is Eidin, which is higher than Gan Eden. Gan Eden is Bina, Eidin would be Chachma. Says the Alter Rebbe Harei. So Be'emunah Zuna, he has a belief that everything comes from Chachma. So Nich, Lalu, Misala, Be'emes, Harah, Meduma, Be'tev. So the evil that he sees and construes is lifted up and included in good, ha'elyin, ha'gonus, which is supernal and hidden, and it manifests not just in a good that the Eibush knows it's good, but in a good that he too sees that it's good. This is the Alter Rebbe, he gets the Kiddush on B'tach. This is a classic, very, very famous.